Hello everyone, welcome to part 7 and the final part of the Sri Ram Raksha Stotra and the legacy of Prabhu Sri Ram and his significance to 21st century India. In the past, I would like to encourage you to like and subscribe our channel. And through parts 1 through 6 of the this Ram Raksha Stotra, I've talked in great detail about the various aspects of Prabhu Sri Ram, exactly what he was, who he was, and I to do this, I use the aid of the Ram Raksha Stotra, which was composed by Buddha Kaushik Rishi in well a long time ago. Some say 8 to 10,000 years. So, in what does Prabhu Shri Ram mean to me? To me, he is the ideal man. Why is he considered the ideal man? For once, he was dark skinned, and it is mentioned time and time again that he had dark skin, he had lotus eyes, he had arms that were so long that they reached all the way down to his knees. His hair was long and it was arranged in braids. So he was so the fact that we as Hindus and Indians were unapologetic and proud of the way we looked, and I hope one day that India and Indians will have that attitude again, where we are no longer ashamed of the way we look, and we no longer somewhere have this inferiority complex with regards to the white man as a result of our admittedly painful history. Uh, but leaving that aside for a moment, it is the duality of Prabhu Sri Ram which always fascinated me. This man who's Karunya Rupam Karuna Karantam. He's an ocean of compassion. He is lotus-eyed. He is by all means a handsome man. He's a beautiful man, and yet this man is also a fierce warrior, the fiercest of warriors. He has tremendous strength in the shoulders, and he is someone who the demons fear, or dushkarmi, people who do bad things. They're afraid of him. And this duality of Prabhu Sri Ram is a little bit of this is what I hope to embody in my personal life. To be The motto of the Indian police is Gana Rakshakaya Khala Nigranaya. That is, we protect the innocent and we keep a watch on those who are evil. And a man, in my opinion, should be caring and compassionate and loving towards his wife and his children. But he should also be capable of violence and fighting with demons. And you may not believe in demons, but there is evil in this world. Like, I do not know how to look at the horrifying experiments which, for example, were conducted at Auschwitz and not come away thinking that there is great evil, or at least there are people capable of great evil in this world. Look at what ISIS is doing or was doing in Syria, just horrifying. And good men have to stand up to evil as they have all through time, and good men have to fight evil. And I think to do that, who better to emulate and than Mahyala Purushottam Prabhu Shri Ram, that to be loving and kind and compassionate towards one's priyajan, that is those who we love, and yet be capable of protecting them from harm. So he was also very dutiful. So he did not have to go in this one mass. However, his father had made a promise to his stepmother Keke, and to keep that promise, Prabhu Sri Ram went and lived for 14 years in the forest, leading to the entire Ramayana. That is, you know, so this is where the phrase Raghukula Rita Sada Chali Aayi Pran Jaya Vachan Na Jaya. That is, no matter even if my life goes, I will never break my vows. He was always stoic. He's been described as a Ranarangadhira. So when the color of battle is on your face, that is, you're in the heat of battle, Ranarangadhira, what do you feel? Dhairya. What do you feel? You feel calm and you feel capable of enduring that. So I believe in Greek philosophy. It is known as Stoicism, which was popularized. Wait, not sure if it was Greek, or I believe, my bad. It was a philosophy which was. I'm not sure if the Greeks came up with it or Romans. In any case, Stoicism was Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor, is considered, if not the father, one of the main proponents of the philosophy of Stoicism. And this, in a sense, is stoicism, right? That no matter what, how challenging the circumstances of life are, much the same way a pond remains, the depths of the ocean remain unaffected by all the goings on its surface. In the same way, the inner mind shall always remain tranquil and balanced, no matter what disturbances take place in our surrounding periphery. So his dharya is something that I hope to emulate. And Prabhu Shri Ram's legacy today is, yeah, like what Prabhu Shri Ram means to different people is and a question that ultimately they can and should answer for themselves. I've told you what he means to me, and I've explained to you that what the Buddha Kaushik Rishi's um, the Kaushik Rishi Stotra, how it describes him. And I would encourage you all to read the story of Prabhu Sri Ram. And there are so many aspects to it. That there was this woman named Shabri who was a poor woman, and she did not want to offend him, so she only picked out the sweetest grapes for him, and she did so by biting into them. And yet he ate those, because he knew that the woman had compassion. So he always had compassion for his people. But what about compassion for his enemies? So the demon king Ravan kidnapped Masita, and Prabhu Sri Ram uh, defeated Ravan in battle. And as Ravan lay dying, the man who had kidnapped his wife, you know what Prabhu Sri Ram did? Prabhu Sri Ram went to Ravan and he instructed his younger brother Lakshman to sit at the feet of Ravan and learn from him. Because he knew that Ravan was a learned man, even though he had walked the path of evil. And this brings me to the central distinction in the way Hindus tell their stories and the way the rest of the world tells their stories. So, I believe from what I've seen about Hindu epics and Hindu mythology, a character is rarely displayed as evil. Now, a character is shown doing evil deeds, but there's a giant and very important philosophical difference between someone who does evil deeds and someone who is, by their own very nature, evil. So Hindus have demons, but we do not have the concept of the devil or shaitan, as the Muslims call them. So we do not have that concept. Um, because for us, it is what is good is actually harmony. So within nature, a balance is what all Hindus strive for, at least in the highest expressions of our philosophy. Um, and evil is seen as an imbalance or is always seen as an injustice in the system rather than as an innate tendency of the individual themselves. So the character Ravan, who's the, let's say, the evil guy in Ramayana, he's shown to have some virtues. So for example, when he kidnapped Masita, he never forced himself on her. He said, I will wait for the day that you change your heart and fall in love with me, essentially. And of course, Masita never did, but Ravan never forced himself on her. So this evil character is not considered as the personification of all evil. There's still some, can't say exactly good, but at least some redeeming qualities are shown. And similarly, Duryodhan, who's the quote unquote the villain of Mahabharata, which is another Hindu epic, even he is considered to have some admirable qualities. And furthermore, the quote unquote the good guys, the heroes, are also considered to do some bad things. And so yeah, so this is what I mean by dharma and adharma. Like dharma is often translated by other people to mean religion. It never is religion. It's always about the right path, which is to seek harmony within oneself and within the larger system, which is within the world and this universe. And anything which deviates or which makes the world disharmonious is seen as adharma. And when such disharmony arises within the universe, then it is the moral duty, swadharma of every man to walk the path of dharma, to correct that injustice and to fight against that injustice. So when I'm fighting against my enemy, quote unquote, I'm not fighting against my enemy, I'm fighting against the evil that is in my enemy. And giving a historical example, the Second World War was maybe or historically the most brutal and bloody wars that we have ever fought in human history. It was seen by the Germans themselves as Götterdämmerung, that is the end of the gods themselves, or the twilight of the gods. So they saw it as a war of annihilation, as a war that would lead to their absolute destruction. And the Japanese had a similar way of looking at that war. However, the Allies did not treat them that way. The Allies destroyed the military capability of Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, but they were relatively compassionate. Afterwards, they did not wipe out the Japanese race, or they did not try to wipe out the German race. Uh, the way Germans had tried to wipe out the other races. In fact, they treated the Germans with compassion, a relative compassion, and they tried to set up the government, and they said they tried to help build Germany back into a better state. And today, the Germany that I lived in for 6 years is a shining beacon. It is a fair place where laws are obeyed, and for the most part, there is justice. And the first phrase in the German constitution is "Die Würde des Menschen ist unantastbar." That is, the human dignity is inviolable. And why does this phrase exist? It exists because of the compassion and fairness that the Allies showed to their enemies. So yeah, uh, with this, I would like to conclude. Please, I hope you like this. Uh, Let us know in your comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. I would like to conclude by expressing my sincere gratitude to Prabhu Shri Ram. Whenever I was in doubt, whenever I had troubles, I always thought of him, and I think he has guided me onto the right path, and I hope he will continue to do so.